الله أكبر الله أكبر.
Hello everyone, my name is ELDJ. I'm from Korea Secondary School in grade 10. I'm very proud to be one of the best 6 speakers in Talented Speakers 2018. I am so attracted to know everything about the golden age of the Islamic civilization. And I search a lot to find out the impact of our Islamic civilization on the world. And how most of people use a lot of things, but they don't know who did invent these things. I am so grateful for my school and for my great teacher, Mr. Ali Al-Kahtani. And of course for my parents for their assistance and support. Finally, thank you ELDJ.
الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف خلق الله سيدنا ونبينا محمد عليه وعلى آله أفضل صلاة وأتم تسليم. And the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. Hello everyone, my name is Ali Al-Ghouti. I'm from Korea Secondary School in Jeddah. I'm very happy to be one of the best 6 members in Talented Speakers 2018. Everyone, if you're looking here, you will find one thing in common between these pictures. It's the Islamic civilization. So today, everyone, I'm going to talk about the impact of our Islamic civilization on the world. But before I start, I have a short story for you. One day, 1 year ago, someone asked me about my religion, and that was in France. Actually, I told him I'm Muslim. He told me, what is the meaning of Islam? I told him that Islam is a great religion. Islam is a wonderful religion. But he stopped me and asked me, if really Islam is a great religion, what did Muslim introduce to the world? Believe me, this question was a turning point in my thinking because I didn't know anything about that. So I started searching and searching and searching to show everyone around the world what did Muslim introduce to them. So today, everyone, I'm going to talk about 5 things that we are using every day, but those 5 things were taken from our Islamic civilization. The first thing I'm going to talk about is clocks. Have you heard about Al-Jazari from Diyarbakir? He was a pious Muslim and a highly skilled engineer who gave birth to the concept of the first automatic machine in the world. By 1206, Al-Jazari had made a numerous clocks of all shapes and sizes. It was important to know the prayer time for Muslim people. The first clock in the world was a water clock, as you see here. It was a complex device about 11 feet height. Everyone, the second thing I'm going to talk about is camera. Ibn al-Haytham had made optics. He used a dark room with a pinhole on one side and wire project on the other side. Light came through the hole and projected an image of the things which were happening outside. It was the first camera in the world and he called it Qumra. The third thing I'm going to talk about is maps. Muslims help people to find their way for about 3,500 years ago. The first map in the world was introduced by Muhammad al-Idrisi in Baghdad. Muslims in Baghdad began to leave their home to explore our knowledge about new places and give us accounts to the way they have visited. So, the first map of the world was introduced by Muhammad Idrisi, and it was a clay map. The fourth thing I'm going to talk about is airplane. Abbas ibn Firnas, who put the seeds of the new airplane on our day. It was a great beginning for someone who had nothing to do. The first airplane in the world was made of wood covered by silk. He spent most of his life discovering the mechanism of taking off, ignoring the mechanism of landing. And this thing cost him his life. The last thing I'm going to talk about is medical tools. Az-Zahrawi. Who doesn't know Az-Zahrawi? He is Abul Qasim Khalaf Az-Zahrawi, who put the seeds of the new medical tools in our day. It was a great beginning. He had wrote many books and invented many things. One of the most important books that he wrote was At-Tatrif. It includes a collection of over 200 surgical tools. And if you're looking here, you can find or you can see old medical tools. Everyone, those people who were in the past, and nowadays we have more and more and more. We have Ahmad Zuwail, the Islamic inventor. And we have also Gada al-Matari. And also we have Mashail al-Shmamri. They are great people and we are so proud of them. Everyone, last but not least, time is not enough to tell you about all things that are made by those great people. Just be proud because you are one of them. And when anyone asks you about your religion, tell him proudly, Alhamdulillah, I'm Muslim. Thank you, everyone.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Ahmed Mutwalli. I'm a 10th grade student in Al High School. Today, I will be talking about one of the biggest problems in our lives. A problem that affects millions of people around the world. And that's family disintegration. And family disintegration is when the family splits into parts. When the family is destroyed. Talented speakers was one of the biggest things that I ever experienced. I learned so much from this competition. And I've met amazing people that work for days, actually for months, to be successful in this competition. Alhamdulillah, I am now one of the finalists in this competition. So I want to say thank you to my teacher, Mr. Muhammad Al-Sulami, for his support and for being one of the biggest factors for me to perform in front of you here today. Also thank you ELDJ for giving me this opportunity to participate in this competition. In the name of Allah, the most merciful, the most gracious. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good morning, everyone. My name is Ahmed Mitwalli. I'm a 10th grader at Al High School. Today, I'll be talking about one of the biggest problems in our lives. It's a major problem. A problem that affects millions of people around the world. The family is the basic unit of the society. It plays a primary role in developing the society. Sadly, many of us have experienced or witnessed the family disintegration. But what is the meaning of family disintegration? It's when the family splits into parts or ceases to exist. When the family is destroyed or just falls apart on its own. That's family disintegration. Now that we know what is the meaning of family disintegration, what causes family disintegration? Well, the causes of this disintegration are numerous and can be categorized into direct and indirect. First, we'll go with the direct causes related to religious faith and divorce. Religious involvement has a protective effect which prevents and reduces families to disintegrate. And several studies have shown that religious attendance before or at the time of marriage reduces the chance of divorce. Secondly, there are several indirect causes. And the first indirect cause is the family financial status. Second, social media addiction. And third, losing a family member. And fourth, work. And after looking at the causes of family disintegration, it's important to look at the effects of this problem as well. And foremost among those, it affects our children, including teenagers, and of course the parents. It will affect their psychological status. They will feel depressed. They will feel less satisfaction with life. And maybe they will do forbidden things to satisfy their desires, like selling drugs to get some money, addicting it, and even suicide. And of course, family disintegration has a great impact on the students and their scholastic achievements. When the problems and conflicts of the house are taken to the school environment, students may leave school to escape from the devastating effects which are ruining their lives and futures. Secondly, it will affect our community. But how and why? Because the more the families disintegrate, the less our society is able to achieve in the fields of production and services. And you know what? Family disintegration is like a room of darkness that we can either leave it dark as it is, be affected negatively by it, or we can light up the room and let the light make us even stronger. But how can we prevent family disintegration? First, I'm going to tell you something. And this may shock you. In my opinion, family disintegration can be entirely prevented. But we can reduce the chance of it. And we can avoid the effects of it. But how? First, we need to convince ourselves that we are not failures. And even if we fail, we need to know that even if we fail, we learn from failure, then from success. And second, we need to look for opportunities and not wait for them to come to us. Because trust me, that won't happen. We need to know that even if we suffer family disintegration,
we can achieve our dreams and we can be successful. Because there are people that suffered family disintegration, but in the end they became great leaders. I'm going to give you some examples. First, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. Prophet Muhammad was born orphan. His mother died at a young age. His grandfather died after her. His 3 sons died before reaching 10 years. His uncle died at their first battle together, and his other uncle was his biggest enemy. But in the end, he became the greatest human that ever lived on this planet. And his efforts affected billions of people in the history. And I'm proud to be one of them. And second, Dr. Muhammad al-Rashid. Dr. Muhammad al-Rashid was born orphan, but his mother raised him well. So graduated from King Saud University, got his PhD from Oklahoma University, published many books, and became the Minister of Education. And third, Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs was an adopted boy. He was unwanted by his biological parents. And when he grew up, he suffered family disintegration again with his wife and his daughter. But in the end, he became the co-founder of Apple. And now most of the world own Apple devices. And I'm sure that most of you here own Apple devices too. But what I want to say is that we can either give up to family disintegration, be affected negatively by it, and let it conquer us. Or we can hope to get over this problem. We can hope to be successful. But to hope, we need to believe. We need to try. We need to risk. We need to dream. We need to dare. And say, it's me, it's me, it's me. And remember, hope will last forever. My name is Ahmed Mitwalli. That's all I have for today. And thank you all for listening.
Hello everyone, it's Nabil Zahrani. I am a student in Ibn Hibban High School. I do believe that most of us would like to have great and peaceful life. And of course we go through so many actions during our lifetime and we see what pleases us and we see what doesn't. And of course vandalism doesn't please us. And unfortunately vandalism is quite common here in our country and it does really affect our way of living so badly, I'm afraid. Therefore, we really need to talk about this. And as for talented speaker competition, it's been truly phenomenal experience I had. It actually needed a lot of work to reach the final. And also, I would like to express my gratitude to my family and my teacher, Raed Al-Malki, who worked with me since the very beginning of this competition. Day after day, step by step, we could have reached the final. Truly great experience. All thanks to ELDJ.
In the name of God, in the name of God, the most gracious, the most merciful. Peace and blessing of God be upon you. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me at the very beginning of my presentation to introduce myself to you, as I am your speaker, Nabil Zahrani from Ibn Hibban High School, and I am in the 12th grade. Now, I've came here this morning at the very moment to talk to you people about an issue that is so important, an issue that we're all involved in. Either as individuals or as a society, we're all involved in this by a way or another. I'm talking about vandalism, gentlemen, and the way how vandalism could affect our lives and make the world such a miserable place. Now, probably you would be wondering, what is vandalism? How possibly could this vandalism do all of that to our lives? And I've got for your pleasure here a few examples for vandalism actions, and as we can see on the screen, and also vandalism actions could be actions such as harming people, damaging property. It could be even worse. You see, these actions are literally affecting our life. It does indeed. It does affect our performance in life. And that is indeed quite unfortunate. And now I'm talking about all of that without mentioning how much the repair may cost on the governments. Moving swiftly on and relating what we've been talking about with things we see in our country. Starting by the National Day we've got right here, where I do believe it is the day that we're supposed to celebrate in our country, am I correct? And at the same exact time, the actions we make at that specific day are representing us and our country to the whole world. And I do not believe that this is a way you and I would like to be represented by. How sad indeed. Moving to the second example we've got here on this morning, which is Jawhara Stadium. What I do believe that most of us would go to have an enjoyable time watching football, am I correct? Now, could you imagine, ladies and gentlemen, that this stadium took as a budget $560 million? Could you imagine? $560 million. And the capacity of this stadium is 62,241. You see, massive numbers we're talking about right here earlier on this morning. And of course I got to stop in here and say, hold on, who do you think this is made for? Why all these great numbers we're talking about here? Of course, for us, gentlemen. No one else but us. But yet, and unfortunately, there are still people among all of us who don't respect and value the work that has been done to these properties. Therefore, we see actions like these. And that is truly harmful to see, but what to do? Moving to the third example and last example I've got here, which is Jeddah waterfront, where I do believe it is the place that most of us would go to have an enjoyable time. Now, I do believe that most of us heard about the recent project, and we've seen the results. I'm actually glad of what I've seen. This entire project took 800 million riyals as a budget, and the capacity is 120,000 people per hour. You see, massive numbers again we're talking about here. And what I find quite sadly amusing in this project, that in the end of the project there was a press interview with the Prince Khalid Al Faisal, and he had a simple and an obvious question to you, ladies and gentlemen, to the families of Jeddah city. He said, what are you planning to do with this project? Are you going to keep it, or are we going to hear about a vandalism action? Then who's responsible? Only one day after the opening, we see this. And also this. I mean, as the way I see, I do believe that we're all responsible. Because as an example, let's say, by the time these actions were happening, a guy who was walking by reported this to the police station. That could have never happened. But unfortunately, people walk and see these actions and act like if it doesn't mean them, like if it doesn't concern them. And that is indeed quite unfortunate. And moving to solutions which start by religion, family, education and authorities we've got here on this morning. Starting by religion, and if we took this entire matter from the religious perspective, we will find it's forbidden by all means. As God says in Surah Al-Araf, وَلَا تُفْسِدُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ بَعْدَ إِصْلَاحِهَا, and cause not corruption upon the earth after its reformation. And also the hadith that Prophet, peace be upon him, said, إن قامت على أحدكم القيامة وفي يده فسيلة فليغرسها. If the final hour comes while you have palm in your hands, and it is possible to plant it before the hour comes, you should. What could be more obvious than that, ladies and gentlemen? And if we moved and take this matter also from the family duty towards these things, we see that religion is involved as well, because we see the hadith that Prophet said, peace be upon him, كُلُّكُمْ رَاعٍ وَكُلٌّ مَسْئُولٌ عَنْ رَعِيَّتِهِ. All of you are guardians and responsible for his words. And that is what leads me to you, ladies and gentlemen. And by you, I mean you parents, which is at the very beginning, it is your responsibility to make these values in your sons and daughters. You have got this in your hands. And from you, parents, and with the way how you raise your sons and daughters, this generation and the next generations could become greater and greater. So we should start changing on ourselves. And moving to education, which is the third solution, we've seen how education could change in literally everything on reality. We've seen this, and as an example, we've seen the European countries, how developed they got, starting by education as the first thing to start by. And also moving to the fourth solution and last I've got here on this morning, we've got authorities. And I've got for your pleasure here a few examples from a few different countries, starting by the UK, where vandals could face a punishment of jail for at least 3 months, or a fine of £2,500, which equals 13,000 riyals. Could you imagine? And in some other European countries, vandals could face both punishment at the same time. Now, at this point, worth mentioning that in a literally less than a century, these European countries were living in such a hard circumstances due to the issues they had between one another. And look at how developed they got now. And that, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, gives us the hope that we could become even better. Moving to the last example we've got, which is our country here, starting where the rules start by 2,000 riyals as a punishment. And it also depends on how much the damage costs. Now we've got all these solutions, and also we've got the social initiatives. What I do believe it does indeed affect on the teenagers nowadays. And we've got this famous social initiative in our country, which is how to be a good role model by the Prince Khalid al-Faisal, which aims to make people understand how to handle responsibility and how to be a good representative for your country and for yourself before all. Now, basically, that's all I've got. I thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for being here today. I thank the administration of this competition as well. Thank you.
Hello everybody, peace be upon you all. My name is Ala Yasir Ansari and I'm a 15 years old student from Arafat Secondary School. First of all, I would like to thank Mr. Yasir Housawi for all the hard work he went through to deliver this very important message with me. If it wasn't for him and for the support he gave me, I wouldn't be here today. Second of all, I would like to thank the ELDJ for giving us, the youth, the opportunity to get our voices heard and make a difference in today's society. Finally, if I told you that you have a lethal weapon in your pocket right now, would you believe me? And if I told you that this weapon is your phone and your phone could hurt or even kill people, would you believe me? Well, join me in the closing ceremony of the ELDJ to find out. See ya.
Warning, each one of you has a possible lethal weapon in their pocket. Oh, you thought I was talking about this kind of weapon? No, no, no. I'm talking about a weapon that could do more damage than a gun. I'm talking about your cell phone. Yes, your cell phone could do more damage than a gun. You see, over 80% of teens use a cell phone, making it the most popular form of technology and the common medium for cyberbullying. My name is Ala Yasser Ansari, and today I'm going to talk about an issue that has been happening every single day, every single minute, and no one is doing anything to stop it. But we, yes, me and you, we will stop it. Today I'm going to talk about cyberbullying. But first of all, let's see. How many of you have ever heard of cyberbullying? Raise your hand, please. Okay, cyberbullying is the use of electronic communication ways to bully others. For example, you see these kinds of pictures every day, but if you take the minute to scroll through the comments, you will find that some people are wearing a mask. I call it an invisible cyberbullying mask. Invisible? Yes, invisible, because none of us could tell that he's wearing that mask. He could be wearing that mask right now, and none of us could tell. The moment he switches on his cell phone, boom, he joins the whole universe and leaves our universe behind. 5 out of 10 teens have experienced some form of cyberbullying, and 10 to 20% experience it every day. This will lead to many lethal consequences. Number 1, depression and anxiety. Number 2, increased feelings of sadness and loneliness. And number 3, suicide. Yes, suicide. According to a study done by Yale University, found that bully victims are 2 to 9 times more likely to consider suicide than non-victims. But after all of this talking, yes, cyberbullying is lethal. Do you believe that we can stop it? Do you believe that we could press the delete button that will erase cyberbullying from existence and put an end to it? In these 3 simple steps, I will assure you that we will end cyberbullying. Number 1, reach out for help. Don't be afraid. Don't be ashamed. Being bullied is nothing to be afraid or ashamed about. It's okay. Speak up. Take that tape off your mouth and speak up. We need to hear your voice. Number 2, parents. Are there any parents here? Well, you, parents, yes, you could save a life by breaking the barrier between you and your children, by building a relationship. All you share is love and respect for each other. You can end cyberbullying. Number 3, report. According to Al Arabiya, Saudi Arabia has lost more than 2 billion riyals in fighting cyber crimes, but they did come up with solutions. Solution number 1, they came up with the Cyber Crimes Act, which in the bully could get a year in jail and a 500,000 riyal fine. But they didn't stop there. They also created an app. This app is called Kullana Amn. You can download this app right now and be a part of ending this bad phenomenon. So really, hats off to Saudi Arabia for figuring out how big of an issue cyberbullying is. The British politician Pearl Sargent Hurd once said, "Handle them carefully, For words have more power than atom bombs. My name is Ala Yasser Ansari, and yes, we will stop cyberbullying. Thank you for listening.
Okay, this is the last speakers of today. I would like to thank all our great speakers for today, and I would like to mention that these speakers are from governmental schools. Just Saud Mashour is from a private school.
Honored guests, it's now time for a speech from Mr. Eli Gazel, Head of CEL Ministry of Education.
Good morning. I'm from the Center of English Language from the Ministry of Education, an initiative that was by His Excellency, the Minister of Education. And it's...
صباح الخير. I'd like to translate for my colleague Eli. Mr. Eli, رئيس قسم تطوير اللغة الإنجليزية بوزارة التربية والتعليم.
I am only the consultant.
أنا فقط مستشار.
It is very, very difficult for me to follow after such a wonderful group of talented speakers. So whatever I'm going to say is very little in comparison to what they can do.
ما يمكن أن أقدمه قليل جدا مقارنة بما قدم من الزملاء الموهوبين في talented speakers.
So I will do the ordinary. I'm going to thank the director of the educational department of Jeddah.
أقدم الشكر وأحيي مساعد مدير تعليم جدة الأستاذ يحيى القحطاني.
And if you will allow me to thank Mr. Saleh Al-Garni for inviting me and for Mrs. Fatima Al-Gamdi for the wonderful job that you have done so far.
ولو سمحتوا لي أن أقدم الشكر وأرحب بالزميل رئيس قسم اللغة الإنجليزية الأستاذ صالح والأستاذة فاطمة رئيسة قسم اللغة الإنجليزية للبنات للمشاركة ولإتاحة الفرصة لي.
To make this short, what we are going to say right now is that the Center for English Language is working towards collaboration of all the departments from the Ministry of Education, Tatweer, the private sector, as in universities and private companies, to fulfill the dream of the kingdom and make every child a talented speaker.
قسم اللغة الإنجليزية في تطوير سوف ومشاركة مع الجامعات سوف يساهم في تطوير وتحقيق أهداف الرؤية ومنها المتحدثين اليوم talented speakers.
It's very difficult to cut the thoughts, but let me say in the 21st century, what I would like to say, in the 21st century, education is and has to be a collaborative effort.
في القرن الواحد والعشرين
In the 21st century, education is a collaboration of all the experts in the field to come together for a more powerful and impactful education system in KSA. That was too long. Shorten it. In the 21st century, education is a collaborative effort.
في القرن الواحد والعشرين التعليم هو جهد تعاوني.
Every department, every directorate, every expert needs to come together.
كل إدارة وكل الخبراء ينبغي أن يكونوا مع بعض.
So that our collective efforts
وجهودنا المتضافرة مع بعض
can multiply the efforts that we have for a greater Saudi Arabia.
كي تقدم تطور ونمو في المملكة العربية السعودية.
As we saw from some of our talented speakers,
كما رأينا من talented speakers المتحدثين الموهوبين,
the kingdom had a great past.
المملكة لها تاريخ عظيم.
And it can have an even greater future.
وسيكون لها مستقبل مبهر إن شاء الله.
So let me end today's little 5 minute.
دعوني أن أستكمل الخمس دقائق من الحديث.
By saying congratulations to ELDJ.
بالcongratulation بالنجاحات للقسم اللغة الإنجليزية بجدة.
And thank you for inviting us.
شكرا لاستضافتنا.
And I wish you continued success.
وآمل نجاح مستمر لكم.
And it has been a collaborative effort.
وسيكون جهد متضافر متعاون مع بعض.
Friends and colleagues.
أصدقاء وزملاء.
Working together.
نعمل مع بعض.
For the better of not only English language.
ليس فقط اللغة الإنجليزية.
But education.
لكن للتعليم ككل.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.